Yo, what's going on, man? Today is March the 19th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. There are a ton of games on the board for today. So we're just going to jump right into it for today, man. Welcome in. First up, we get into a quick recap. Yesterday, slightly unprofitable night. I talked about taking Kuzma over his points yesterday, and I ended up doing so. Kuzma was the only guy that they didn't guard last night. Damon and Giannis both stay under real easy. It almost like they watched the show yesterday. They heard me say Kuzma was shooting 30% from the field, 20% from the 3-point line, and he hit I think 5 threes yesterday. So he did go up and over his points prop. Very, very frustrating way to lose that bet, because nobody else I think on the full team, maybe Gary Trent Jr. went up and over their points prop yesterday. And then Terrence Mann over his 9.5. It was a little bit sweaty. We had to wait until I think beginning of the fourth quarter, but he did get to 9.5 on a 3-point shot. So finished with 12. So slightly unprofitable day yesterday. Stayed off the sides and the totals. Try to do a little bit better here today. I have made 2 bets, and there's about 4 more that I'm looking at as well. So let's go through a couple comments. He absolutely went crazy yesterday, Kevin. He absolutely went crazy. It is what it is, though. You take your wins and your losses and you keep it moving. Kuzma first game, I think the number I gave out was something like 4 for 11 in 11 games that he had played with Dame and Giannis, but it is what it is. You keep it moving. Good morning, Marquise. What up, Prolific? What up, Justin? Gina says, good morning, Chris and community. Is it time to put the Bucks on the shelf yet? I don't think so. I talked about liking Golden State yesterday. And that number, I mean, the pros were all over it. It was even with Steph being ruled out, I think it might have touched 4.5. It closed at like 2. Went all the way back down. The money came in on Golden State. And I like the matchup for Golden State. I talked about the Bucks shooting a lot of threes. If their threes are not falling, it's pretty difficult. And they shot, I think, like 30% in the first half. They made a couple in the third quarter, and then just couldn't score again in the fourth quarter. So Golden State, had laid an egg the night before against Denver. It kind of made sense in my opinion. Probably should have played that under yesterday. I'm glad you cashed it, Jason. Good morning, Tasha. Upper hand says Mark Williams on the list. It's funny, right? Because Mark Williams, we bet on his under against the Clippers, and he looks like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Last night, he has 3 points. So that's the way the NBA working right now, though, man. It's working that way. You just take it, keep it, you just move in stride, What's up, G421? Says Clippers cover, Warriors money line in my pocket. Glad you got that. Adam says he got another 4-leg last night. I'm hotter than fish grease. What up? Tariq says, good morning, Chris. So the theory going forward is to take the underdog when the star players are rolled out. Thankfully, I took the under in the Bucks game. It's always been that way, Tariq. Always been that way. So today I'm gonna go through about 5 or 6 games. I'll let you guys know what I bet, what I'm looking at, and a couple of the games with the key injuries I'm not gonna touch on at all. So let's jump into it. First up, we start off with JaXon, as we always do, your AI sports betting buddy / companion / tool / homie, whatever you want to call JaXon. Today I asked JaXon about so I asked JaXon 2 things actually. First one I asked was, what is the best 3 player props based on the last 10 game hit rate? Not gonna give you guys all 3 because I didn't even read through all 3, but I was reading through one right before the show, and this one makes a lot of sense. Tyrese Halliburton, if he plays, I'm guessing that he does against the Indiana Pacers, up and over his 9.5 assists. The line is starting to become juice. Not sure what it opened at. Probably like -120, -125. But best number available right now is on FanDuel. I did check this right before the show. -136 for Tyrese Halliburton to get 9.5 assists. It says that he has a 90% hit rate in his last 10 games, averaging 12 assists during that span. The Mavs rank 15th in assists against the point guard position, making this a neutral matchup for Tyrese Halliburton that he can exploit with his elite playmaking. He's hit the over in this line 100% of the games against Dallas over his last 2 seasons, averaging 12 assists. And in recent form over the last 5 games, Halliburton has even been better, averaging 12.5 assists with a perfect hit rate. So I mean, Dallas is, I always talk about Dallas defense. It's like their defense is no defense at this point in time. I do think the Indiana should be able to live in the paint. So that makes a ton of sense. I was looking a little bit deeper into it after I read that, just in the few minutes before I started the show, and the the Dallas Mavericks they're bottom 10 in assists allowed to the point guard position over their last 5 games. Well, bottom 10 allowed in assists in general. And we know Tyrese Halliburton is going to be the guy that's dishing. So that one makes a ton of sense. Tyrese Halliburton over his 9.5 assists. Also, where I kind of pivoted to was his double-double, minus 110 right now on FanDuel. So not to like jump too far off track, because Jackson likes Tyrese Halliburton over his 9.5 assists. But I'm just kind of like, I take what Jackson say and then I look into it a little bit deeper. So just kind of giving you guys some extra thoughts there. Tyrese Halliburton over his 9.5 assists is what Jackson likes. As far as spread, I'll give you guys a spread bet too. Jackson says, I just asked what is the best NBA ATS bet today based on last 10 games. Jackson likes the Cavs minus the 5. Jackson liked the Cavs yesterday. It was not a good day for the Cavs. Likes the Cavs minus the 5. It says they've been dominant over their last 10 games, boosting a plus 10.2 net rating, which is second in the NBA during that span. They're excellent. They're excelling on both ends of the floor. Offensive rating of 121, defensive rating of 111. The Kings, while competitive, have a plus 2.9 net rating over that span, ranking 10th in the league. However, their defense, 115.6, has been inconsistent. The defensive rating of 115.6 has been inconsistent against elite offenses like Cleveland. Cleveland's size and defensive prowess, led by Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, present a significant challenge for Sacramento. The Kings ranked 20th in defensive efficiency, allowing 115.6 points per game, which can be exploited by Cleveland's efficient offense. Cavs, 42-25-1 against the number overall, 29-18-1 against the spread, were favored by 5 points or more this season. They've been strong on the road, 34-12-1 ATS when scoring above their season average. So yeah, and Sabonis is ruled out. I'm looking at that right now. So take Cavs minus the 5. I don't know if it's that easy. I didn't really look too deeply into the game. I actually fell asleep before the Clipper game went off last night. So I do see a 4.5 minus 115 on ESPN Bet and on Bet MGM, but make sure you guys are shopping around to get the best numbers if you want to tell what Jackson likes. So let's move it on over to the first game, which is the Houston Rockets and Orlando Magic. Line opened at 2.5. It's actually moved now. It's actually up to 3.5. And the total is moved too. It's up from 208.5 up to 211.5. I made these graphics yesterday and didn't get a chance to go in this morning and update them, but we'll update them real quick now. So 3.5 is the number. And then this is up to 211.5. So money coming in on the over, money coming in on the Rockets in this spot. And let me get to my notes, tell you if I agree with it or not. We get an updated injury report. So first things first, we start with the injury report. I know Reed Shepherd is out. I know that Amin Thompson is out, right? Those guys are out. I did see that Cole Anthony is listed as questionable in this game as well. And we got a Houston team that just beat Orlando. It wasn't that long ago, about a week and a half ago, while Houston was on his road trip, while Orlando was on his road trip, beat them 97-84 in Houston as a 3-point home favorite in that game. Easily went under the 210.5. Houston locked Orlando up. Orlando couldn't score the basketball. You do got a Houston team that's been profitable on the road. They're 19-12-1 against the spread on the road. This is their first game after 6 straight home games, though. Something to take into consideration. Also coming off the overtime game against Philly, where they were 17-point favorites. Did not cover that game a couple days ago. They played 3 straight overs. Played in Miami on Friday. They won 7 straight. So Houston is in good form. Orlando, first game back home after a 5-game road trip, where they went 4-1 against the spread, coming off a really big, probably the best win of the season against the Cleveland Cavaliers in a double revenge spot. And they don't have a look ahead. They play Washington on Friday. So I'm looking at Houston, 4th in offensive rating last 5 games. More importantly, they're number 1 in offensive rebound rate. And that's important because Orlando is actually allowing the second most offensive rebounds in the league last 5 games. And when you go back and look at I went back and looked at the last matchup, and I remember it. In that most recent matchup, Houston, they won the rebounding battle 63-42. So they were plus 21 on the glass. They were plus 7 in offensive rebounds as well. And that was without Amin. Amin Thompson did not play in that game. And Houston only shot 39% from the field, but they held Orlando to 32% from the field and 25% from the 3-point line. Now, when I look at Orlando, strength of schedule wise, Houston, they played a very easy schedule as of late. They just beat Philly in overtime. They beat Chicago. I don't know what you can say about Chicago. They beat Dallas. They beat Phoenix. And they beat the Pels twice in their last 7 games. To make things even more interesting, Orlando has actually played the most difficult strength of schedule over the last 5 games. And they're actually still a plus plus 1.7 net rating, which is slightly, that's impressive in my opinion, because we know Orlando has been struggling recently. Another thing, if you like Orlando here, the Rockets, they've been taking a lot more threes lately. 5th and above the break three frequency. Orlando has been defending the 3-point line really, really well. And then I started to look into a couple trends. Orlando, situationally for them here, you got home team that has the rest advantage facing an opponent that's coming off an overtime game. They do win 66% of the time, 55% ATS, and that's over a 400 game sample. Couple things I don't like for Orlando in this spot. Orlando's just 1-6 straight up, 2-5 against the spread since the All-Star break playing in Orlando. For whatever reason, they've struggled at home. 5 straight non-covers for them at the crib. And first game back home can be a rough spot. Ultimately, it's 2 things that I'm looking at in this game. As much as I want to get there with Orlando, I don't like that the line is going the other way. I don't like that they're a really bad rebounding team. And Houston, I think, can come in here into Orlando and win the rebounding battle again. I like Orlando. I like Houston early. If you just go back and look at the numbers for the full season, Houston has been much better in the first quarter than they've been for the full game. When I was looking at it earlier this morning, I want to say it was, I'll give you guys the numbers. I don't want to make them up. So Houston is actually the 3rd best ATS team in the first quarter on the full season, 40, 28, and 1 against the number. They're 23-9 against the number, 23-9-1 against the number in the first quarter on the road. I haven't placed the first quarter bet in quite a while, but I do like this one a lot. 23-9-1 against the spread on the road in the first quarter are the Houston Rockets. That's the 3rd best record. And when I was looking at the situational spot for the Orlando Magic, first of all, the Magic have been struggling in the first quarter. Even if you watch the Cavs game, they were down double digits in that game in the first quarter. They have not been as profitable at home for whatever reason. On the season, they're 17-17 against the number at home. Last 10 games, they are 3-7 against the spread in the first quarter. So I do kind of feel like with this being their first game back home, it's a situational spot where I want to take the -0.5 point with the Houston Rockets here, thinking that they can come out and establish themselves before the Orlando Magic can. So that's what I like as far as side, total, spread, ATS, all that good stuff. As far as player prop, we'll go over to Outlier really quickly. And I know I'm taking a long time. I'm going to speed up because I'm not going through all the games, but I'm going to speed up and get through the rest of them. So we travel over real quick to Outlier. I'm looking at a guy that we bet on in the last game and we did cash. And that is going to be, I haven't placed this yet either, just FYI. I am kind of disappointed that the number already started to, it's actually moved already. But I'm looking at Jalen Green points plus assists. So I'm cheating a little bit because we just cashed this in the last game. But this opened at 27.5 yesterday, -115 on Bet365. I didn't put it in. The write-up is very similar from the last one. Jalen Green's favorite shot is the above the break 3. He's taking 43% of his shots he's getting 43% of his points from the above the break 3. Orlando's number 1 defensively against the above the break 3. As far as frequency, they put a lot of pressure on the 3-point line, force you off of the 3-point line and to actually get to the rim. And I do think that make this smaller. I do think that we see Orlando do the same thing here today. Orlando allows the fewest assists to any team in the league, and if Fred VanVleet is going to play, which he is, supposed to play, we're going to see Jalen Green, probably go under his assist prop as well in this spot. You can see that he's coming off a 13 assist game, but that was against Philly, and he's gone up and over in just 4 of his last 10 games. The line is only at 4.5, and it's juiced to the under. His points prop, 22.5. You can see, he's up and over in 4 straight games. The books already know they did not put this line too high. So it's just a lean for me right now. You can also see Orlando 8th in defense against the shooting guard position. I do think that they're going to have to find other ways to score the basketball tonight. So kind of want to take Jalen Green. This is the scary part. Look at these shot attempts. I know this one went to overtime, but 25 shots against Chicago, 19 shots against Dallas. Has been a pretty sweet schedule though, because they haven't been playing great defensive teams. 16 shots against Phoenix. You can see he got 18 shots up here, but he only made 6, and this was the game against Orlando. So didn't play it, but I do lean Jalen Green under. Probably going to get there with a first quarter or Jalen Green prop in this game. That's the way that I think I want to play a little bit more than anything else. So I said a lot. I spent a lot of time looking into this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Let's see. Good morning, user. What up, Unk? Freak says, I like the Cavs. Team seems to play better on the back-to-back after a loss, leaning Houston as well. Yeah, the Cavs play makes a little bit of sense, Rick. I didn't look too deeply into it, but I agree. Justin says he's going to ride with the Magic plus the 3. Thinks he's going to ride the momentum. They have been playing well. I don't know, Adam. I'm with you. It's a tough game. This says took the under. Orlando 17-7 to the under versus the West. 21-10 to the under after a win. Okay. Houston versus good defensive team trends towards the over, Adam says. Marquis says he likes under. Jaja says Sengun over under 18.5 points. Ventura over under 25.5 points. I would definitely be looking towards Paolo to score. I think him and Franz going to have to play better. Franz actually shot the ball really terrible in this matchup, which is why they only scored, what did I say, 84 points the last time that they played. Adam says Magic won the do not best list for a long time for a reason. I can't trust them. They have been playing a lot better recently, though. Jordan says he's on the Magic. A couple new guys in here. That's cool. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. All right, let's move over to the next one. Houston early, minus the half a point, or Jalen Green under his 26.5 points plus assists would be my recommendations in this game. As far as the next one, we got the Pistons and the Heat. This line hasn't really moved a lot. 5 is what I saw open up at. It's moved to 5.5 on a couple books, but there's a lot of disagreement in the market here because I thought that this one was going to move. I did play the Detroit Pistons minus the 5 in this spot. We talked about, and it's not a blind fade of the Miami Heat, but we talked about how the Miami Heat has looked really, really bad at basketball. It's just not a knife that I'm willing to catch right now. So we start with the injury report. Jovic will continue to be out. Alex Burke is questionable. They could play. I know Wiggins didn't play in that game on Monday. So we'll see if he plays. Miami Heat and in Detroit, they got everybody. They should be full strength. Jaden Ivey, of course, the only guy out for them. So we look at the head-to-head matchup. The first week of the season, Miami did win to kick things off. I remember being on Detroit. I think it was +8 or +9. They lost by like less than, they covered by half a point. So if it was 9, they lost by 8. If it was 8, they lost by 7. Games. The Detroit Pistons have won back-to-back games against the Miami Heat. They've covered both of the spreads as well. Detroit has actually played Miami really, really tough. They're 7-2-1 against the spread in the last 10 versus the Miami Heat. And you start looking at the situational stuff here. We got a Detroit team that's played really, really well on the road, 22-11-2 against the spread. They're only 5-5 straight up, 5-4-1 against the spread in their last 10, but they have 2 days of rest off after this game before they play the Dallas Mavericks, so no look-ahead spot. And then the Miami Heat, they've been abysmal, man. 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games, 0-6 against the spread in their last 6, 7-3 to the under, and they haven't scored more than 108 points in 9 straight games. They have been held under their team total in 7 straight games as well, and that sets up really, really well for a Detroit defense that is a top 5 rated defense. Miami's the worst offensive rated team last 5 games with an offensive rating of 102.9. Defensively, they've really struggled. They've started to struggle. 25th in defensive rating, playing at the second slowest pace against the 7th strongest strength of schedule. Detroit is 11th in offensive rating, second best defensive rated team, playing at the 3rd fastest pace against the 5th easiest strength of schedule. So Detroit throughout the full season and over the last 5 games, they're mid-range assassins. They live in the mid-range, ranking in the top 10 in frequency and accuracy. Miami is the worst mid-range defense in the league from a frequency perspective last 5 games, so Detroit should be able to get to those mid-range shots. Miami is a team that typically takes a lot of threes. They're 7th in frequency, but last 5 games, they're actually 22nd in frequency, and it's probably because they're shooting it at the second worst percentage. 29th in three-point accuracy over the last 5 games has led to them being the worst offensive rated team last 5 games. Detroit has been excellent versus the three-point shot recently. 4th in opponent accuracy last 5 games. Detroit is also another strong point for Detroit. Miami, they're turning the ball over at the second highest rate. Not sure why they struggle handling the ball all of a sudden, but Detroit is 13th in opponent turnover rate last 5 games. Same for offensive rebounds. Miami doesn't get themselves a lot of opportunities for second chance points. They're 24th in offensive rebound rate. Detroit is 6th and opponent offensive rebound rate. So not giving up a lot of second chance opportunities. And we talked about this in the Pelicans game last game, but Detroit, for whatever reason, when they're laying points on the road, it used to sound weird to take them, but they're 10-3 straight up and against the spread as a road favorite. Having covered 8 of their last 9. 7 of those last 9, they've won by 7 points or more. And last but not least, Detroit, in the 7 games that Miami has lost at home as a dog, they've only covered 2 of them. The other 5, they lost by 9 points or more. On the flip side, Detroit, when they've won on the road, they've covered every single. When they've run on the road as a favorite, they've covered every single game. Perfect 10-0 in the games that they've won on the road as a favorite. So, yeah, I like Detroit. I played a -5 here. Pretty quick one for me. Let's see. Jordan says he's on the Magic. What up, Doms? Adam says I like the Pistons. Bet them pretty heavy. Hope Motown equals more money. LJ says Detroit 11-2 ATS in the first half, last 14 games, so they start early. Eventually Miami is going to beat a team. I just don't think it's going to be Detroit. And it looks easy to take Detroit, but if the numbers support it and it looks easy, I'll play it. I'm not just going to play it because it looks easy. Adam says I like the under as well. I can't play it over in the Miami Heat game right now, not with how bad their offense has been. Let's see. Appreciate you, Jaja. Appreciate that for sure. Tonio says Magic and Heat both money line. Lock it in. Okay. If Wiggins plays, Miami keeps it close. How close though? Back to the well. Pistons first half -2.5. Heat have no interest in winning games. You know what's crazy, Downs? I said this the other day when you liked Detroit first half. And the Pels, I talked about the Pels being really good. I think they were 18-6 against the spread in the first half as a home dog. Miami, for whatever reason, if they play like good, it's always early. They fade late. I think they have, somebody mentioned this in the comment section. They have like one of the worst net ratings in the NBA in the fourth quarter over the last 10 games. And Eric Spoelstra has lost, I think, the most games in a row of his tenure. I think it's 8 games in a row. He had never lost more than 7. And then they lost to the Knicks. And you know what happened with the Knicks? They came out. They actually were winning, I think, at the end of the first quarter and got doors blew off of them. Still end up losing the game by double digits. And I think we see the same thing here. Miami's going to bring it. You need Wiggins in, and you need Alex Burks to play, and you need Detroit to have an off game. Miami going to have to get hot from the three-point line, in my opinion, for them to win this game. Heat team total under for Marquise. Tariq says, I'm on the Pistons. Pistons win. Miami to cover is the play. Okay. So everything I said, opposite side. Okay. Let's see. During double-double. All right. Let's move over to the next one. We have the Pelicans and the Timberwolves. I wanted to go through this one. So these 2 teams do play again on Friday. The rematch will also be in Minnesota. So they won't have to travel at all. So injury report here, the Pelicans have Brandon Boston listed as out, but they also will be without Trey Murphy. He's done for the season. I think he tore his labrum, I think it was. And then on the Minnesota side, nobody on the injury report here. Second meeting of the season. It does look like Zion and Kelly Olynyk and Misi will all play. So the earlier matchup this season, when the 2 teams were a little bit different, Minnesota did go into New Orleans as a 4-point road favorite. They won the game by 13, 104-90. I'm sorry, they won the game by 7, 104-97. And that game did stay under the total of 222. So we got a higher total here. And we got a Pelicans team that they probably just packed it in, man. Especially watching Trey Murphy go down in the last game. I'm this close. I really want to take the Minnesota Timberwolves, even though they have not been, print money as a double-digit home favorite. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. The Pelicans are 9-25 against the spread on the road. That's pretty telling. That's a terrible win percentage. They're also 2-8 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. 3 straight non-covers, 3 straight unders. Offensively, they are 28th, I think, in offensive rating. And then on the Timberwolves side of things, I haven't really been laying points with the Timberwolves anyway. I always like to get them as a dog. But 13-21 and 1 against the spread. Coming off an overtime game against the Pacers, where they lost outright as a 10.5-point favorite when the Pacers were resting players. So conventional wisdom does say that Minnesota, in a big letdown spot against the Indiana Pacers, losing outright to a shorthanded Pacers team, will show up in a big way here and not play with their food twice in a row. The numbers kind of back it up as well. The last 3 times that they've lost as a favorite, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they beat the Bulls by 19, they beat the Thunder by 15, and then they beat the Suns by 18. So do we think that the Pelicans can keep this one within the number? I actually don't think so. I didn't play the game. There's a couple different reasons why. So first thing is the Pelicans, last 5 games, I mentioned this, bottom 5 offensive rated team, bottom 10 defensive rated team, and they really struggled with protecting the basketball. They've taken the most shots at the rim last 5 games, but are converting at the 3rd lowest field goal percentage. So probably reason why they haven't been able to score. It's interesting though, because if you look at Minnesota is forcing shots off the 3-point line and into the paint. In the last 5 games, they're actually allowing the most shots at the rim and the fewer shots at the 3-point line. So not sure exactly how that's going to play out. You got a Pelicans team that wants to attack the paint, Minnesota team that's allowing teams to attack the paint. But I would guess that with Rudy Gobert being there against a very, a team that I feel, in my opinion, is not outside of Zion, it won't try to attack the paint too much. Should struggle. I think that the Pelicans should struggle is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Minnesota, they've also attacked the rim. Fourth highest frequency last 5 games, 3rd highest in accuracy. New Orleans has struggled to protect the paint. See that last game against Detroit as an example, where Detroit got whatever it is that they wanted. So I think that if I had to bet it here, I think I probably would go a look towards the over. I think Minnesota, even though they've been attacking the paint a lot and shooting a lot of 3-pointers, I do think that they should still be able to score the basketball, especially if the Pelicans turn the ball over, especially if the Pelicans play a little bit faster. We'll see what kind of pace they play with. But the Pelicans are just 2-6 against the spread as a double-digit road dog this season. They've only averaged 101 points in that spot while giving up 125. So they've lost these games as double-digit favorites by average of 24 points. I think if I had to play it, it'd be Minnesota minus the 12.5, thinking they can get the job here, even though they didn't cover against the Indiana Pacers in that last game, and they're coming off an overtime game. So that's my thought process on this one. Didn't play any player props. Let's see. Chris says cashed on man points and Charlotte team total under. Appreciate the daily insight. Appreciate that, Chris. I'm glad you cashed. Should have tried took Charlotte team total under too. Just Atlanta defense is just boy. Adam says Wolves are past, not betting this game, not trusting the house of disappointment. Timberwolves team total over for Tariq. No Trey Murphy. Can't bet on the Pels. Too many people out for the Pels. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Brian likes the Pistons. Like it, Brian. I bet it too. Euphoria says Minnesota first quarter, thinking they come out with something early. Marquis says Pelicans team total under, which that line is, I can see a Pelicans team total under. If Minnesota really wants to bring it defensively, what did I say? Who do Minnesota play next? Oh, they play them next. They play them again. Probably got a bad taste in their mouth, losing to a Tyrese Halliburton-less Indiana Pacers team the other day on their home floor. The Pelicans team total is 108.5. I do think that they struggle to get there. Minnesota team total is 120.5. I think that they could get to that. So yeah, I think I don't know. It really just depends on pace and efficiency. Whether it's a team total over. I think you just lay the points, honestly. I do think the Timberwolves win this game by 15 to 20 points. Justin bet the Timberwolves team total, staying away from the spread. McDaniels has been a cash cow, Adam says. He has been. He's been really, really good. Shout out to Jaden McDaniels. All right, next one. Let's keep it moving. We got the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. This line was at 8. I think it has moved to 8.5 now. Yeah, still kind of laying at 8.5. Total has moved up. You see 228.5 on the screen. It is up to it's up to 231 now, it looks like. So money has come in on the over. You can still get a 230.5, I think. You still can get a 230, I think, on a couple books. And if I'm playing this one, that's the way I'm playing it. The over or a Knicks team total over. So no Brunson for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson has been upgraded to questionable. I know he missed the last game against the Miami Heat. Or I didn't see him playing against the Miami Heat. This is not that it matters at this point, but this is the second matchup of the season. The Knicks, if we think back to Christmas Day, they did beat the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby went crazy in that game. They didn't cover. They were laying 8.5 points in that game. San Antonio has actually covered 7 of the last 10 games against the Knicks. So situationally for the Knicks, one of the things that really sucks about wanting to play the Knicks here, and I'm not saying that they're not the right play. This line opened at 8 and it's up to 8.5. I don't think that money's going to come in on San Antonio here, but they have played the Knicks. They played 7 of the last 8 games on the road. They've traveled for at least 10 straight games. So remember, they were on that long Western Conference road trip. They came home for one game to beat up on the Knicks, beat up on the Heat, and then they're right back on the road. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back. Not that it matters. They got the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow. But it's just a lot of travel. They have covered 2 of their last 3, 7-3 to the under in their last 10. They are top 5 defensive rated team. And the Spurs, they're 4-6 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games, 9-1 to the over, with the only under actually hitting by the hook. And that was a game versus the Pelicans this past weekend, that had a total of 235 points and Zion didn't play. So I said all that to say that I think that the New York Knicks are going to be able to score. The Spurs don't have a true center. They also just not playing well or hard on the defensive end. Lakers was in the 4th game at 5th nights and put 129 up on them. I know the Knicks will be shorthanded, but I think that they'll be able to knock down some shots. So San Antonio, worst defensive rated team last 5 games. Have a defensive rating in every shot zone that's bottom 5. And they allowed 127 points per game in their last 5 games. The Knicks, 5th in offensive rebounding rate last 5 games. They should be able to dominate the boys on any of their misses. San Antonio, 20th in opponent offensive rebounding rate. New York also, like I said, 2nd best defensive rated team last 5 games. San Antonio offensively last 5 games, taking the 2nd most shots at the rim. The Knicks are allowing the 2nd fewest shots at the rim. So lots of advantages here for the Knicks, in my opinion. The Knicks are plus 7.6 in net rating last 5 games against the 9th most difficult strength of schedule. San Antonio is minus 3.5 in net rating against the 3rd easiest strength of schedule. The Spurs have not been playing good teams. Outside of the Lakers, they just played the Pelicans. They played the Charlotte Hornets. They lost. They got smoked to the Charlotte Hornets. They played the Dallas Mavericks twice. And they had the Lakers. 2nd leg of a back-to-back, 4th game at 5th nights for the Lakers. A very rare spot. And didn't cover any of those spreads. So I do think that the Knicks are the right side as well. That's the only way that I would be playing this game. And that's my thought process, is the over or the Knicks in this spot. I didn't bet either one of them quite yet, but that's the way that I'm looking in this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking. G421 says it's a lot of points, but I kind of agree with you. Chris Pels are trash right now. They are. They absolutely are. And that's why the book's not going to give you a discount. If you want to lay it with the Timberwolves, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay it. What up, Peasy? Appreciate you for tapping in. User says, I was sweating Rockets full game under. Came through by 2 points. Just can't lay with the house of disappointment, Boss says. I can understand it. I can absolutely understand it. They're the lesser of the 2 evils, and you want them off a loss, like I said. You want the Timberwolves off a loss. They'll probably be a little bit more focused. As a home favorite laying double digits this season, they are 6-5 against the spread, though. So they have been slightly a little bit more profitable, winning their games by an average of 13 points, which is right where this line is today. Lost to the Pacers, beat the Jazz by 26, only beat the Magic by 7, beat the Spurs, which I would compare the Pelicans to the Spurs. Beat the Spurs by 17, the Sixers by 14, the Bulls by 19. So they've covered 4 of the last 6 in this spot. And the teams that they didn't cover against were actually playoff teams, the Magic and the Pacers. Pelicans not a playoff team. I know I don't need to say that. Let's see. Adam says, give me the Knicks. Don't overcomplicate it. Knicks should roll. I agree with that. Tariq says Knicks team total over. LJ says, is that trend still active on fade the Spurs on totals greater than 225? Has to be, LJ, especially without Wemby. I mean, the defense has only gotten worse. Now no De'Aaron Fox as well. So let's see. Spurs total greater than 225. 11-30 is the number, LJ. 11-30 is the number. They're covering 26% of the time if the total is greater than 225 at home. They failed to cover their last 3, 4, 5. 5 of their last 7. They do got to cover in here against the Mavericks. Give them kudos for that. And they got to cover in here against the Pelicans. Give them kudos for that. Outside of that, they've been getting absolutely steamrolled in this spot all season long. And if we just add that they're at home, still 7-13 against the number, losing by an average of 5 points. But I know recently they've been struggling. Adam likes the over. Knicks punish weak teams. This is their spot, Adam says. Cat should dominate. He absolutely should, Euphoria. Absolutely. Marquis says agree with the over. Knicks team total over as well. I think it's 119.5. LC Worlds like Cat 3 threes. Could not talk you off. All right, let's move over to the last one that I'm gonna talk about. And I did bet this one, man. Hey, don't chop me up too much in the comment section. But I did play the Bulls in this spot. I grabbed the +6.5. I was debating about a +7 because it did move to 7 yesterday. I was debating the +7, -118, or just take the -6.5 at a -110, and I grabbed the 6.5 before. I can't believe I bet the Bulls, man. But I've been on a Bulls free dive for a while. I think it's a really good matchup for him here. So we start with the injury report. Josh Giddey is on the report. I think Coach Billy Donovan said that he's either going to. Well, I know Billy Donovan said that Giddey's either going to play today and not play tomorrow, or he's going to rest today and play tomorrow, because this is the first leg of a back-to-back. The Bulls got the Sacramento Kings tomorrow in Sacramento. On the opposite side, I think that Josh Giddey is the only guy on the report for the Chicago Bulls. Let me just double check that. Yeah, him and Lonzo Ball is out. Lonzo Ball has been out for the last few games. On the opposite side, though, for the Phoenix Suns, no Grayson Allen, no Bradley Beal, and Mason Plumlee is out as well. Phoenix did win in Chicago when they played earlier, February 22nd. They were laying 5.5 points, won the game 121-117, so they did not cover. We got a Chicago team that's kind of hot right now, man. 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. They have 7 straight covers as well. Went into Utah, got the job done. Stopped in Houston, got the job done. Phoenix has actually been covering games as well. They're 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. 5 straight unders as well. They did just absolutely mollywop Toronto team that was shorthanded without RJ Barrett and without Jakob Poeltl. I don't think it's going to be that easy for them in this game. And I look at their upcoming schedule. Not that they don't want to put a lot of emphasis on this game, because they need every win that they can get, still on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. But they got the Cavs, the Bucks, and the Celtics up next. The Phoenix Suns. And they have the most difficult schedule. I think we've talked about that. Most difficult strength of schedule as far as down the stretch of the season. So in my opinion, when I was looking at the game, it helps a lot. One of the couple reasons why I like Chicago in this spot. It helps a lot that Phoenix has been a team that's very, very highly reliant on the corner three-point shot. They're top 5 in frequency and accuracy on the full season and in the last 5 games. Phoenix been taking a lot of threes in the corner, both corners. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Tyus Jones, a lot of those guys just out there lighting it up from the three-point line. Chicago, they don't allow you to shoot a ton of those threes. They're a good three-point defense in general, but they don't allow you to shoot a bunch of threes, especially in the corner. The top 5 defending the three-point shot on the full season and in the last 5 games, specifically that corner three-point shot. So all we really need is for Chicago to play some mid-range defense on the full season. They are really good mid-range defense. Last 5 games, they've been kind of middle of the pack, kind of slightly below average, but they are the number 1 defensive rated team, the Chicago Bulls, the number 1 defensive rated team last 5 games, all while playing at the second fastest pace. They should be able to get out and run in transition. We know that they play at the second fastest pace. They play very fast. I'm not sure what their pace numbers are. Don't have it right in front of me right now, but they are playing. They are getting out in transition at the second highest frequency is what I was trying to say. And Phoenix can really struggle against teams that play well in transition. So I did bet this. I bet the Bulls at +6.5. I think that they can keep it within 3 possessions. So I am going to be on Chicago. I think if Josh Giddey comes back or he doesn't, I still like it either way. And I think it's too many points to be laying with the Suns. I can give you guys a whole bunch of trends about why you shouldn't lay points with Phoenix, but if you watched the show before, you know that the Suns have absolutely been terrible at home as a favorite. 7-12-1 against the number, only covering 36% of the time. And recently they have been covering, but I do feel like they've been covering against the cupcakes. They covered against the Pelicans. They did get the Kings. Kings were on the second leg of a back-to-back. They got the Raptors, who were also on the second leg of a back-to-back, and they beat the Jazz and covered. So not a lot of credit I want to give them for that. Let's see what you guys are thinking. We'll jump into a quick recap, and then I'm gonna get it ready to get up off here. A lot of games I did not go through, and really just injury report stuff, which is why I didn't go through some of these games. Let's see. Euphorious is definitely taking cat threes now. Euphoria says Sharps saying Bulls gonna win the game. Win this game. That's a fact. That's a fact, Adam. Every time I want to bet the Bulls, they do me dirty, man. Every time I want to bet against them, they end up cashing. So you are right. A lot of money left on the table. They're 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. G421 says blindly, says Bulls plus 6.5, even with Lonzo out. Adam says I'm on the under in this game. Surprisingly enough, Bulls defense has stepped up, especially against the three-point shot. Yeah, I like under as well. I mentioned the Suns playing 5 straight unders as well. The Bulls been really good defensively as of late, so I agree with that. Other says I agree, Chris. Fade the Suns off a win, 0-9 ATS, off a win of 10 points or more, 624-1 ATS off a win. Don't get too much worse than that. Bulls also 10-2 against the spread in their last 10. What up, Smeezy? Says Nashville in his house. Appreciate you for tapping in, Smeezy. Tariq says Chris on the Bulls. I'm buying a lottery ticket today. Yeah, buy 2, Tariq. Yeah, I'm on the Bulls today, man. I did play the Bulls. I am on the Bulls today, man. All right, so let's get into a quick recap. Things that I did bet, things that I bet are in green, things that I'm leaning are in red. We'll see what I end up getting to, but I do like all the plays that I played on the card for that are on this short list today. Houston first quarter, like I said, I have not bet a first quarter in quite a while. I do think that they come out and win the first quarter with Orlando first game back home after a 5-game road trip, or it might have been 6-game road trip. So I didn't bet that one yet. We'll see where the line. I kind of want to wait because first quarter numbers get better throughout the day as more books open them. Detroit and Chicago official plays for me. Jalen Green under 26.5 points and assists. Minnesota, I think, is the right side. The Knicks probably just a look towards their team total. I think they can get to 120. Spurs been giving up 127 in their last 5 games. I didn't mention Philly and OKC. I think you can still get it to 229. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is ruled out in that game. There's a couple other guys on the injury report, but the market is pushing it up, and I agree. Remember, we just talked about Philly against Houston. That game went up and over the total pretty easily. I do think that both teams are going to be able to score. I do expect it to be played with pace. But Deng is out. Cason Wallace is questionable. Isaiah Hartenstein is questionable. Lou Dort is out. Jalen Williams is out. SGA getting the night off. Drummond is out. Yabusele is questionable. Maxi's out. Oubre is doubtful. And I still feel like we see more points. This opened at 227.5. It's up to 229.5. And like I said, I agree. You can get a 228.5, actually. I do agree with that. And I don't know if I'd necessarily be buying OKC minus the 10.5. Not that they can't win the game, but I think the total is the right play. When I was looking into this last night, over their last 10 games, OKC is when they've been laying double digits at the crib, because I kind of felt like this line would get there even before it did. They have gone over in 8 of their last 10 games when they've been laying points at the crib as a double-digit favorite. They're averaging 237 in that spot. Philly's going to jack up a bunch of threes and play fast. OKC probably won't play much defense in this game, kind of going with the numbers. And so, yeah, it's over. Even without SGA out there, I think they'll be able to score. Both teams will be able to score. So, slight lean towards the over at 228.5. I don't have it in my pocket, though. So that's the show for today. Resources, as always, are here. Check them out. Showed you guys how to use Outlier, 7-day free link trial in the description. jaXon likes, and I actually like it as well, Tyrese Halliburton over his assist prop at 9.5, or the double at minus 110. If he doesn't play, you can get refunded. jaXon also likes Cleveland minus the 5.5. That is the show for today, man. I will be live with Cal, talking about the other games, talking about these games again at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy your Wednesday, man, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.